Are you wondering how to escalate sexual tension with a woman without being creepy? If so, you're in the right place. Stay tuned because we're going to cover that exact topic in today's video. I'm Emyli, head coach and co-founder at emlovz.com, and in 2012, I went on a 100-date research experiment. And since then, I've been helping my clients find love fast with my coaching and matchmaking programs. And every now and then, I get a client who asks me, how do I escalate sexual tension without being a creeper? I love this question, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, so stay tuned. So first things first, I have an entire training module on this in my coaching program where I really explain how to escalate sexual tension. You can learn more about that over at emlovz.com, but I will say you can escalate sexual tension in a variety of ways. You can do it through physical touch, you can do it through conversation, you can do it through logistical planning. And so what I really discovered in my 100-date experiment was that there is a formula for how to set up a first, second, and third date in a way that is guaranteed to escalate sexual tension. And there's a lot of men who didn't know this when I was doing the 100-date experiment. And so as much as I like them and as perfect as they were on paper, I didn't really feel sexually attracted to them. And so let's talk a little bit more about how to escalate sexual tension without being a creeper. So one of the things I teach in my program is I give my clients a first, second, and third date blueprint where they follow a framework in order to to achieve the goal that they need to achieve so that the relationship continues to increase in emotional intimacy and in sexual attraction. And so I can't tell you everything about all of that right now, but if you're interested, you can learn more at emlovz.com. But just as an example, once you have trust and rapport established after the first date, it's really important on a second date to have physical activity and adrenaline in the body. That adrenaline is going to create arousal, which is going to escalate sexual tension naturally. So if you ever watch The Bachelor, which you probably don't because you're a dude and you're watching my videos, but if you do, you'll notice that they do a lot of scary dates, like jumping out of a plane or, rappelling down a building. That is something that is going to naturally create arousal in the body just through the activity. So it's not something that you're doing so much as it is the way that you planned your date. You set up a date in a way that was going to create that arousal in the body, and that escalates sexual tension in a super non-creepy way. In fact, a famous study showed that when a man and a woman were standing across from each other and one walked towards the other one, there was very little sexual attraction. But when a man and a woman stood across from each other and one had to walk across a dangerous rickety bridge, they found that they were much more sexually attracted to each other because of the arousal that was created in the body from the danger element. Okay, so this is part of what I teach. I teach it in a lot more detail in my program, but a lot of escalating sexual tension is not about like touching them and being all sexy. It's actually just about planning your date properly and making sure that you go through the correct sequence so that you're not stagnating and in the friend zone, and so that you're not freaking her out and getting called, getting police calls because you're being a creep. There's definitely a way to do it, and a lot of it just comes to date planning. So if you want more information about that, I would love to share more with you. It is something I teach in my program. You can learn more at emlovz.com and book a new client session with me or a member of my team. There we'll talk about your dating goals, the obstacles holding you back, and how my coaching program can really help you to escalate sexual tension properly without being too forward or too passive. There's also ways to escalate sexual tension by introducing sex into the conversation, and it is an advanced skill. This is another thing I teach in my program. But there is a 3-step formula to how to do it so that you're not coming across as creep. And I think this is something that very few men know how to do, and every single woman wishes a man knew how to do really well, because we all want you to help us to explore our sexuality in a safe way so that we can really come into our own. But that's a very in-depth topic that I do teach in my program. I actually have a 3-step formula to make it not creepy and to also make sure that you're checking in with her and seeing if she is sharing in that interest with you or if she's being put off. So it's about introducing sex in a harmless way and then gradually increasing sexual intensity and really reading her to see if she's going with it or if she's pushing back. And so there's definitely things that you can do in conversation. There's questions that you can ask that can make it, that can escalate sexual tension in conversation in a non-threatening way. And then there's also sexy storytelling, which is another thing I teach in my program, which is where your sexy story gives her permission to then share very vulnerable, deep things with you that increases sexual tension and keeps you out of the friend zone. So if you want to learn more about that, head on over to emlovz.com and book a new client session with myself or a member of my team. A great question you can ask to escalate sexual tension on a date is, what does sex mean to you? And this is an awesome question because it tells you whether you're on the same page with your sexual desires and expectations. So if sex to you means fun and play, and sex to her means that only happens in marriage and monogamy, now you know that you actually have two totally separate value systems surrounding sex. And that can help to determine whether there is compatibility or not, and also how you're going to navigate escalating sexual tension moving forward. Because you really do want to get an idea for how she looks at sex and what her background is that has informed her sexual beliefs. And that might open up a dialogue on religion and how that has come to shape the way she views sex. It could also open up a dialogue about maybe a history of sexual trauma, which is really important to open a dialogue about if that exists, because it can create a lot of problems if that's not out there in the open. That wraps up this video. If you like this video, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.